You used to need Hollywood money to get the anamorphic look. Big rigs, expensive glass, and budgets most of us could only dream about. But that's not the case anymore. These days, affordable anamorphic lenses are everywhere. Sirui, Laowa, Blazar, even options under $500, making the affordable anamorphic market as competitive as it's ever been. So here's the real concern. In a market already full of budget anamorphics, does the Sirui Iron Star actually bring enough anamorphic character that modern young filmmakers are chasing to justify the $1,000 price tag? Well, I'm not so sure. What's up, nerds? Welcome back to the channel. So we know that affordable anamorphic lenses have been a common battleground among lens manufacturers like Sirui, Blazar, Laowa, with some lenses costing as low as a few $100s. We even have autofocus anamorphic nowadays. I think it's pretty freaking cool that we live in a time where we have so many affordable options to choose from when it comes to anamorphic lenses. And well, the newest player to the game is this Sirui Iron Star 1.5x anamorphic lens series. These are full frame PL and EF mount lenses that are specifically designed for filmmaking operation. Now, I've had the pleasure to test the 60mm from this series for the last few months, but the set also has a 35mm and a 45mm with more focal lengths to come in the future. So in this video, I'll make sure to give you a solid overview of the 60mm, as well as plenty of test footage, results, and even comparisons to the Blazar Remus 65mm, the Blazar Mantis 50mm, and the Vazon 50mm 1.8x anamorphic. And of course, I'll make sure to give you guys my thoughts on whether or not I think this lens is a worth it newcomer to the affordable anamorphic market. Sirui did send this lens for me to check out, but they are not sponsoring this video. No money changed hands, and they don't get any input or review on this video's creation. So to get started, the Sirui Iron Star is a full frame 46mm coverage. You do have a PL and EF mount, so they're interchangeable. So it'll come standard with your PL mount. But then when you order the kit, you also get a little EF mount adapter. This just swaps the mount on the back. It's honestly super easy. So for those EF shooters that still exist, hey, I got you covered. This is a 1.5x anamorphic. So keep in mind that this is a full frame lens. So it is a full frame 60mm lens, but with that anamorphic squeeze, it's going to give you more of a 40mm field of view equivalent. So giving you a little bit more real estate on the wide ends. That's how anamorphic works. It also opens all the way up to a T1.9, making this a super fast lens. It's got a 95mm outer diameter for matte boxes, and then a very interesting 92mm filter thread. This is the first time I've seen a 92mm filter thread on a lens. Those filters are few and far in between, but they do exist. You also have a pretty decent minimum focus on the 60mm at 0.78 meters or 2.7 feet. It's pretty solid for a 60mm, especially in anamorphic. And on your focus throw, you got a 270-degree focus throw. Now, my ACs in the cinema industry might not love that. It might be a little too short for them, but 270 for like handheld operation or single operator is perfectly fine. This set is available in a neutral and a blue flare. So you got two different options. I've been using the neutral flare, so all the footage you'll see is with that. I shot exclusively with this lens on my Blackmagic Pixis 6K. It's a camera filming me right now. You have markings on either side of the lens for your classic filmmaking operation and measurements. The 60mm is decently big. It was about the same size as the Vazon lens when I was testing that, and it's much larger than my Blazar Mantis lenses or any other cine lens I own for that matter. The lens is a native PL mount. I have the Mophage Poco adapter, but this lens doesn't fit on the Mophage naturally. But if you take off this little ring on the back, which allows you to adjust the back focus of the lens will mount to the Mophage. I didn't love the look of that though, so I went ahead and got myself a Nisi PL adapter to use, and it fits just fine with that adapter. But yes, you can adjust the back focus on the lens super easy by taking off this black ring on the back of the lens with a tool that they do provide for you. And then you loosen the back focus ring with an Allen key, and then you can adjust focus to make sure that you're sharp. Honestly, a really cool feature that I've never seen in an affordable lens like this. It makes nailing the focus of your lens super easy. The lens opens up all the way to a T1.9, which is one of the fastest 1.5x anamorphic lenses I've seen so far in this price range. And as far as sharpness goes, per Sirui fashion, I think the T1.9 is perfectly usable. And of course, as you stop down to T2.8 and T4, the image sharpens up pretty nice, making me able to shoot those landscape shots that I'm severely addicted to. Now, the area that probably surprised me the most with this lens was in the flaring. Now, I'm not a diehard J.J. Abrams blue flare anamorphic fan. That's just not what I care about when it comes to anamorphic lenses. But with this lens, the neutral flares are very well managed, and they can be prominent if need be with harder light sources. But for the most part, they're pretty well controlled and look really nice in my opinion. Another surprise was the lack of chromatic aberration overall with this lens. If you use any Blazar lenses, one of the most prominent features, at least for me with the Mantis lenses, is the chromatic aberration. In fact, you can probably see it in this shot right now since I'm using the 35mm Mantis to shoot this. And you could really see it comparing it to the Blazar Remus 65mm. I know that's a feature that some anamorphic heads love, but for me, I don't love it, I don't hate it, I only really have an issue with it when it's distracting from the subject. But when it comes to overall image quality of this lens, you get a nice, sharp image overall, has beautiful color rendering, no weird shifts as far as I could tell. As far as all the footage I was able to get with this thing, I think the image looks really nice. However, the main feature of this lens is where it really starts to struggle for me. When you come out with a 1.5x anamorphic, I expect a lot. Not just the wider field of view, but distortion, bokeh, character, the transitions in subject focus, especially now where the affordable anamorphic market is getting more and more competitive every day. And while the Sirui Iron Star does have some of those characteristics, it's pretty lacking for a 1.5x. Comparing this to the Remus, Mantis, and Vazin anamorphic lenses, it was clearly the cleanest of the bunch. Now, to be fair, sharpness is not my first priority in anamorphic lenses, and I'm not looking for perfection. I'm looking for cinema magic. I'm looking for character. That's the main reason filmmakers turn to anamorphic lenses in the first place nowadays. This lens, if it does distort, is more of a pincushion distortion, and the bokeh is smooth, but not nearly as squeezed as I would have expected coming from a 1.5x. Now, maybe my opinions are distorted, but comparing this to the Mantis, which is a 1.33x, I would take the Mantis 9 times out of 10 for anamorphic character. Granted, Blazar did do a little magic with those lenses, with the aperture blades designed to be an oval shape, kind of like hacking that 2x squeezed look. But guess what? The Mantis is less money and lighter weight, making it more versatile. I do think the Blazar Remus pushes those flaws or character maybe a little too far, but it still looks so much more interesting compared to the Iron Star, and frankly, a lot of Surui's recent anamorphic lenses. Now, before all the clinical photographers start raging at me with their keyboards, I am fully aware that these opinions are very subjective and different for every user. But for me, if I'm gonna buy an anamorphic lens, I want it to look anamorphic, not just like putting anamorphic flare filters in front of a lens and cropping to 2:4:1. I want it to have that little extra something that makes this lens different from your average Sigma Prime lens. I still think the Iron Star has its strengths in overall design. I think it has a very premium housing meant for cinema use, full frame 46mm coverage, PL mount, opens up to T1.9 for a really fast lens, and it does have some nice foreground character and flaring, which I noticed in shooting some of the footage I captured. I think for a 1.5x anamorphic that's $1,000, I just expected a little more. And maybe I'm wrong for that, I don't know. That doesn't mean the image looks bad though. I just think if you cropped in from that widescreen look to a 16:9, you would have a hard time differentiating this lens from your average spherical prime until you start flashing flares everywhere, and then that's where you'd be able to see it. I think if you want sharp, clean, reliable anamorphic without quirks, then this is a great option. But if you want heavy anamorphic character that looks out of this world, honestly, Blazar might be the better fit. And maybe one day we can take a look at some of those big league Cook anamorphic lenses. Maybe. I'd have to make some crazy calls to make that happen, but it's not impossible. But anyway, enough of what I think. What do you guys think? Would you choose clean, sharp when it comes to anamorphic, or character and quirkiness to give your frame a little more something? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'd love to rage about anamorphic lenses and character with you guys. And if you're interested in checking out this lens or any of the other anamorphics that I mentioned in this video, there are links in the description. They are affiliate links, so if you purchase from those links, it does support the channel. Thank you so much if you do. And if you enjoyed this video, then maybe watch this video next, and don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell button so you never miss out on new young filmmaker content. Good luck filmmaking.